I am Emily from Texas A&M University, and my question is more of an economics question, as we've been talking about before. How can we encourage factories and companies in poorer areas to prioritize the health of the local environment when the nature of business is to prioritize lowest cost and a margin of a net zero profit margin? This is topped with the natural tendencies of human nature to prioritize greed above all else, profit over regulation.
I didn't get the part about the local stuff. You may please need to repeat the question.
My apologies. How can we encourage factories and companies in poorer areas to prioritize the health of the local environment when the nature of the business is to prioritize the lowest cost and maintain a net zero profit margin? This is topped.
Okay, I got it.
This is okay.
You see, I don't think, again, continuing in the same vein, I don't think you can tackle this in isolation. Though you could bring about suitable legislation. You could treat, for example, the climate as a person, and the climate could have its own rights. Just as there are fundamental rights given to persons. Similarly, treat the climate as a person and give it rights. And if those rights are violated, there would be penalties. So that's a route you could take, and that's an effective route that should be taken. But I don't think even this is going to be very effective. Right? It must be done. But even if done, it will have limited effectiveness. Though it's one of the things that we should begin with. Recently, a South American country brought about changes in its constitution. They actually overhauled their entire constitution, and the constitution is now almost founded on giving great rights to the climate, to the various animal and bird species. And it's a document worth emulating. I think a lot of countries in the coming years will take inspiration from it, and actually need to take inspiration from it. So that could be done. But profit is profit, greed is greed, and when we do not respect the rights of sentient beings, people in flesh and blood we can see and talk to, how will we respect the rights of something a little abstract as the climate? The climate is not going to come and talk to you and plead to you as a person. And the climate is not going to sue you on its own. Somebody needs to act on behest of the climate as a proxy. So I don't think we are going to be very respectful towards the climate on our own, even though the right legislations are important and must be there. So what to do then? You need to tell people. There has to be the right kind of knowledge. What is happening is, we are in the middle of an information revolution, right? We all know we are. But this information revolution has not increased knowledge. It has not increased knowledge, and for sure it has decreased wisdom. Why? Because there is so much information available to us. This part we see. What we do not see is that the opportunity to disseminate misinformation is now greatly available to the miscreants. So you get a lot of information today, several hundred times more than what you used to get 30 years back. But most of what we are getting now is misinformation, or disinformation, or false information, or misleading information, or distracting information. So the result is that the quality of our knowledge has greatly fallen. And knowledge is what forms our insides. On the outside, we are made of food, air, water, flesh, bones. On the inside, we are made of knowledge. And the knowledge that constitutes our insides has become all corrupted. So what will happen is that there is this factory, and this factory is harming the health of the local environment, as you said, right? But people have been taught that comfort and greed are more important than the health of the environment. That needs to change.
Is it okay if I add on? What about the nature of human nature to survive? It also prompts us to prioritize ourselves more, and also adds on to that greed, because naturally we want to survive.
You see, we need to appreciate the nature of the beast within more clearly. There was this COVID pandemic, and people knew that if they would behave in certain ways, they may even die. Did they still behave rationally? The climate crisis does not even threaten you that much. Nobody will say that if the climate keeps worsening, then by next year, 35% of the world's population will be wiped out. So when it comes to having a good time, when it comes to having pleasure, the beast within is prepared to trade long-term wellness for instant gratification. Long-term wellness can wait. After all, we do not know whether we would be around in the long term. And somebody said in the long term, we are all dead. Anyway. So why not have a good time as long as it lasts? So that's how the... please.
Yes, you have also mentioned that how with the skin condition, if it doesn't affect us directly, we more than likely won't see it. And I'm thinking that this is also what you're trying to infer with the climate crisis. We can't really see it directly, so therefore it's easier for us to ignore it and push it aside.
So let me add, rather let me ask you, what is it that we can see directly? You cannot, for example, see at this moment the carbon dioxide concentration in the air increasing. We cannot see that. We don't even actually have instruments to measure that. The common man does not have that. But what is it that we can see worsening on a daily basis, and we are also concerned about? What is that?
The rising temperatures, with this current heat wave that's going on right now, and then also in the past, we've also had a snowstorm in this area. So it's also, we could see the issues going on too.
You see, the opposite is also sometimes evident. There are places on the planet that are having harsher winters. And I have seen people, when the winters are harsher, they would say, oh, and then there are people who are talking of global warming. Where is the warming? All I am experiencing is the cold. So, you see, these temperature fluctuations are not so wild or so apparent that they become undeniable. When we want to stay in the false, when we want to deceive ourselves, we get enough evidence to stay in that deception. The proof of global warming or climate change is still not irrefutable for those who are hell-bent on denying them. We very well know, there is a huge community of climate deniers that exists, and who keep saying that all this anthropological global warming thing is a hoax. It does not exist at all. So what does that mean? I mean, that means that the common man still has a lot of places to take refuge in. The truth is still not very bluntly out in the open. Those who want to refuse it are still refusing it, and will probably be able to refuse it for another, I think, 5 or 8 years at least. So my question, let me take that. I asked you, what is it, however, that no person, in his senses, can refuse? He can neither refuse it, nor can he pretend disinterest from it. What is it? The fact that our lives are in a mess. There is nobody who does not want to improve the quality of his life. Do we agree on that? Every single person on this planet wants change in his or her life. And what is that change all about? That change is about improvement. We want to have a better life. What does that prove? We acknowledge that our lives as they stand have problems in them. Otherwise, why would we want to change or improve? No, we are all looking for change. We get up each morning and we say, can we have something better? Can we reach a better place? Can we do something better? Whatever. No? Can we eat something better? So if we can show this to the person and impress on him that you need to be better, your life needs to change, then I think the climate crisis can also be addressed.
With the common man example, how you give the term global warming, and then others would be like, how is it warming whenever it's freezing cold? They fail to take into account the destruction of the ozone layer, which protects us from extreme heat. It protects us from freezing winters. It protects us from these extremes, and they fail to recognize these issues that's going on due to the breakdown of the ozone layer.
I'm a part of certain WhatsApp groups of intellectuals, people coming from technological backgrounds, working in tech companies, having good tech knowledge and good numerical skills, and decently well-informed people. And there is a sizable lobby there that presents very, very logical proofs backed by data and stats to prove that, first of all, climate change is not happening. Secondly, if it is happening, it is not happening due to human activity. It is just something in the cycle of natural events. It keeps happening all the time. Thirdly, even if it is happening due to human activity, it is actually beneficial for the planet, because more carbon dioxide means more greenery. And these are not arguments coming from illiterate or mindless people. These are arguments coming from seasoned tech professionals. So if you want to rationally convince people about the climate emergency, I am afraid you might not see much success.
I'm aware that there isn't much success because we're stubborn people. We like to stay within our box, but think of like the technological perspective. For example, like within algorithms, which is trained to feed people what they want. Do you think that is also part of the problem too, of keeping people locked in?
I'm sorry, but I lost that word you used in between.
Oh, algorithms?
Algorithms, right. Yeah. Yes. So what about the algorithms?
So, for example, with algorithms like Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, it's trained to keep the user engaged, which
Yes, very, very definitely. Right, right, right. Right, right, right. So you can see, you are using AI in the worst way possible. You and would you contest it if I say that I don't know how you would appreciate it, but if it clicks, it clicks. The ones you can. Instagram, for example, is a lot of climate change. Instagram is a lot of climate change. All the emotionality that you see in the general public discourse, be it politics or economics or social welfare, all that is a lot of carbon. I once said all our emotions are carbon intensive. All the natural, prakritic, animalistic emotions that we have, they are nothing but a lot of carbon. See what you do when you get emotional, and the moment you see that, it becomes amply clear. In your moment of emotional high, whatever you do, you would find that very surprisingly all of that is very carbon intensive. So definitely, I mean, greed, if you let it have its way, it would consume everything, this entire planet. And that's what I said. This might be called as the information age, but the level of wisdom is the lowest we have had in centuries. First of all, information is there, no doubt. A lot of information is there, but not much knowledge is there. Otherwise, it's not possible that supposedly very knowledgeable people talk of the climate crisis as a hoax. So even knowledge is not there, and what to say of wisdom? It has completely plummeted. You give information to the wrong entity, and he will use it in the worst possible way. The algorithms you talked of are a very good example. That's what I am constantly asserting, that we need to address the very center of the human being. If we do not address that center, then whatever else we say or do or try won't see much success.
I believe that should be everything from me for right now. But I did enjoy this conversation.
I too very enjoyed it, and there's a lot more we need to discuss on this, but to begin with, I think this is a good start.
Hi again. My next question was regarding the human nature of greed and the human heart need to want to be the best and have the best. How do you personally believe that we can shift that mindset to minimize the globe's impact on climate change and essentially change the heart of, human nature and want to have greed and be greedy?
No. We have to begin with observing the facts of life, and we have already made so many attempts at being the best and being at the highest place possible and achieving the best kinds of objects, and we have been attempting that since long, right? And today we are attempting that with more knowledge in our hands, more prosperity in our hands, mightier technical tools in our hands. We have been trying all that. Having tried all that, what have we achieved? Where do we stand? Is the common man more satisfied today? Are we? Yeah, we are living longer, definitely. Are we living deeper as well? And if we are not living deeper, is longer life not just a curse? How about being mentally unwell and continuing to live for 95 years? I don't think that sounds very attractive. But that's how we are living. So that's true. We are born desirous, and we want all those things that you mentioned. Best places, best people, best positions, best rewards, best designations, best packages. We want all those things because there is something inside that refuses to be satisfied. What is it looking for? Is that not a question worth considering? If we sit down and very objectively, in a detached way, look at our condition, and we have a lot of data to process and rationally base our conclusions upon. We need not speculate about who we are and what are we doing. We have already done a lot, and all that data is available by way of experience and memories. So we look at all that, we process the data, and won't we see that the way we are proceeding is simply not taking us anywhere? The way is much the same as it was 10 centuries back. We are doing what our grand forefathers were doing, just in an amplified way. They didn't have so much resources at their disposal. We have a lot. So we are attempting the same thing in a much bigger way. They never got anything out of that. How will we get anything as if something has fundamentally changed? But yes, technical and material progress would happen. And material progress does have a value of its own. So, to the extent that can satisfy us, we'll do well. But beyond that, it's all zero. Zero. In fact, when you have a lot of material success and you are still empty within, I fear the situation is worse compared to that of the person who is even materially insufficient. Because the materially insufficient person at least has a false hope that the day he will get money, he will be satisfied. But once you have a lot of money, and we just said in this very conversation, I thought I read that the US now has some 22 million millionaires. And other countries are not to lag behind in a big way. Even India, when it comes to millionaires and billionaires, is trying to keep pace with the richest countries of the world, even as the average household income is almost stagnant. But the number of very rich people is exploding, even in India. Now, where is that taking us? Are we going somewhere? Are we reaching somewhere? Or do we just want to blindly believe that our faith in material prosperity will be rewarded? Has it been rewarded till now? The answer cannot be in binary. Material prosperity has helped, but where? In which dimension? We must carefully investigate. Yes, today we have fewer diseases. We don't die of polio. We don't die of being, killed by predators. People are not dying so much having been bitten by snakes or chased by lions. Those things are not happening, right? But are we okay the way we are? So, when you question that thing, then change descends on its own. Then there is a silence. Then the insane flow of energy towards blind destinations, that flow just tempers down a little. We do not remain very excited towards all those places we usually are. And in that mellowing down of excitement, we find a concentration of energy. Because that excitement is nothing but dissipation of our life energy at 40 useless places. When excitement and energy are withdrawn from those places because those places are seen as useless, then there is a concentration of energy. And that concentration then helps us overcome the real obstacles towards right living. That concentration then gives a meaning and power to life. And then you are not very insistent on making consumption the bedrock of your existence. Then there are other things. Then you find that there are subtler pleasures life has to offer. You don't necessarily have to have $1 million to burn on a yacht or in a shopping mall or at a jewelry shop or wherever. See, none of this that I'm saying is idealistic. It is not spiritual in the conventional sense. It is also not idealistic. I'm talking practical common sense. I'm talking of something that is very, very applicable. It can be executed. It must be executed. And it's not an idea. It's a blueprint for action.
That was a great answer.